Hello there, good morning and welcome to a brand new week, the last Monday in May. Well, this is VOP This Morning, your trusted source for the top stories, conversations and updates that matter. I am Chukwuma Okoro, and on the show this morning, Atiku will attend Northern Consultative Meeting amid 2027 coalition talks as Obi reaffirms loyalty to Labour Party. Away from that, we go to the southeast where IPOB has rejected renaming of Biafra Heroes Day as Igbo Day. Vows to sit at home on May 30th. Anyway, I'm not alone in the house. I have with me delectable Miss Fina Okechukwu.
Good morning, Chukuma. How's your weekend?
Very well, and you?
You're looking so, I don't
know.
No, stop it. I wouldn't want to say what I have in my mind, but all the same, you're welcome. Good morning, it's VOP this morning, like Chuma rightly pointed out. And also on our radar today, we'll also beam the touchlight on the NNPC, as this case may be. NNPC announces a May 24th shutdown for Port Harcourt refinery maintenance. And this also have made Nigerians to ask. And they're still asking, because I learned it was just 1 month after the oil refinery was being declared working by the former group GMD of NNPCL, Mele Kyari. 1 month after that, it shut down again. But this one, at this case, at the point in time, we're told that it's just for maintenance. And we believe that the May 24th maintenance will not linger on to the point that Nigerians will start losing faith again in NNPCL. Anyway, these are the major topic of conversation this morning. We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you've not done that. Also, click the bell button, that's a notification bell, so that you know when we're live. On all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, well spelled out. And you can also visit the website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. We have a number you see scrolling on your screen. You can call in via WhatsApp during this conversation. We need your opinion, because with Voice of the People, you have more than a voice. You can also send us a 1-minute video of yourself reacting to any topic of conversation that got your attention. In talking about interesting stories that set the social media buzz on yesterday and during the weekend, a minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has withdrawn from all previous reconciliation agreements aimed at resolving the internal crisis within the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Wike accused key party leaders, especially Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, of betrayal and dishonesty. He alleged that Makinde and Enugu State Governor Peter Mba violated multiple high-level agreements, including the reaffirmation of Senator Samuel Anyango as National Secretary, despite a Supreme Court ruling supporting Anyango's position. Wike criticized the effort to replace Anyango with Udo Koye and condemned the organization of an illegal NEC meeting through the Deputy National Secretary. He cited the cancellation of a PDP Congress in Jos in Plateau State after INEC refused to attend the particular NEC meeting due to irregular signatories, describing the incident as an example of the chaos caused by internal sabotage. Frustrated by what he termed the virus of dishonesty and treachery, Wike declared that he could no longer trust his colleagues and had decided to exit all previous agreements, vowing to continue fighting for justice within the party. Some Nigerians reacting to the story, someone said something yesterday. They were hoping or expecting we get to say, I defect. I'm no longer a party to PDP. Now I belong to APC, as the case may be. What does it mean by saying he will keep on fighting for justice within the party? And then Nigerians also pointed fingers to what happened in 2023 election, when it was agreed that the presidential candidate ticket will be zoned to the south and then the national chairman to the north. But we can come up to say it shouldn't be limited to southeast. It should be thrown open to the whole southern region. By so doing, he also have interest, because we saw he already bought a vehicle, branded it for the presidential race and all that. But now he's here talking about people who are dishonest and people who are committing treachery within the PDP. I don't know what is happening. I'm not a member of PDP, People's Democratic Party, but if you ask me, Chukuma, I would say that it's high time the members of PDP will call Wike in, rein him in, and ask him questions about his activities. Because from what I am seeing from where I'm sitting, there is nothing different from anti-party activities from what Wike is doing in PDP.
Well, first off, when you say you don't understand what is happening in the PDP, you may never understand because you are just an onlooker. The active participants actually understand what is happening. Let me start from the last. You talked about reining Wike in, and sanction him. Who is going to do that in the PDP? Wike is PDP himself.
He said it out boldly. He sponsored the party. Yes, the party's dead.
He even said, look, even the governors that I helped win elections, I have not asked for any favor from not even one of them. Exactly. So in the lead up to, after 2015, when PDP lost the elections, everybody left. Nobody wanted to touch PDP, even with a long pole. Exactly. It was Wike that came in. With his deep pockets, that is, people are asking, this deep pocket, where is it coming from? That's another story on its own. He was able to revive the PDP, held it together up until 2022, when he also wanted to become the president on the platform of the PDP. Exactly. And you just narrated what happened. When they said zone the ticket to the southeast, he said no. It shouldn't be to the southeast, it should be to the south, so that he will be in. He wanted to exclude others by including himself, Now, Atiku Abubakar said, no, if you don't take it to the southeast, I am in.
Contest. Exactly.
So that was how Atiku stepped into the fray, and we all know what happened.
Exactly.
So, but despite that, because Wike had already built a massive war chest, not just with the finances, but with the people within the NEC and the NWC, it's very difficult. It would be very, very difficult to displace Wike in the PDP. And when you talk about anti-party, he clearly, like he said, he played smart. He wrote a letter to the NWC
before accepting the ministerial
appointment.
And they approved
it. They say go and serve as minister in the APC government. So on what basis will people now accuse him
on
of
the fact that he has been so verbose and be talking down on PDP as a party? Actually,
no, he's not. He said he's within the PDP. He says he still wants to revive and build the party and ensure there is justice. The question now is, what is the color of justice? What color of justice is Wike talking about?
When he favors you, it's justice.
It's justice.
When he does not favor you,
it's not justice.
Yeah, it's injustice.
So he's not alone in that. Even the whole lot of Nigerians, when the judiciary gives a judgment that is favorable to some group of people, they say, justice has been done. We stand by the words of the judiciary. But on the flip side, they say our judiciary is corrupt and all of that. One thing that I want to take away here is that, look, in politics, like they said, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies. What they have is permanent interest. Yeah. Who will ever believe that Wike and Seyi Makinde will be at odds, will fight? These are people who moved from Port Harcourt to Ibadan, to London, to Spain, to all parts of the world, holding meetings that they couldn't hold here in Nigeria. When they go to River State, they will sow Etibo. When they go to Abia State, they will sow Isiago. When they go to Ibadan, they will sow Ashoke and all of that, But all of a sudden, their interests have diverged. Instead of overlapping, it has diverged.
It can overlap. If you're waiting for it to overlap at this point in time, I don't think it will ever happen again, because
it might.
I don't think it's going to be
possible. People are even of the opinion that Wike wants to sponsor Seyi Makinde for presidency.
But we know that. I'm not trying to talk anyone down at this point in time, and I'm also not in the mind of every Nigerian, being because we're looking up to the 2017 election. But we know that when you look at the political bigwigs, we look at the persons that we have. For example, if you get to APC, just a few days ago, they're about to learn that the whole All Progressives Congress senators and also the National Working Committee have come up to say that they are presenting Bola Asuwaju Tinubu to be the presidential candidate for the 2017 election unopposed. And then you have a permutation about ADC or a merger, with the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Peter Gregory, whom we know actually were the people that gave APC a wonderful run in the just concluded election. Bring it back to Seyi Makinde. He is just an Oyo State governor.
Okay.
And from the look of things, I don't really see him at this point in time, coming up to say he is going to go there to contest with the likes of Atiku Abubakar or with the likes of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and then, let's say, Peter Gregory Obi. Okay. It's more like that would be a waste of resources, if you ask me. It's a waste of resources.
There's always an element of surprise in politics. When you say he was just governor of Oyo State, Tinubu was just governor of Lagos State. Yaradua was just governor of Katsina State.
Tinubu 30
good
was
just governor of Anambra State. It doesn't matter how long did it take.
Tinubu 30 years, how long did it take? Like he told us to prepare himself for this.
How long did it take Yaradua?
On a Yaradua's note, Obasanjo made Nigerians to understand that that's more like a compensation.
Okay, so you think there's nobody that can make
who is going to do the compensation?
No, you never can tell. That's why I say there's always an element of surprise in politics.
When someone made us to understand that Emilio Con, this is my turn, this is my time, and you think that that such surprise actually holds water in the 2027 general election. I don't think such
the surprise might come from a different angle. Nigerians will just surprise themselves and surprise the whole lot of the people that you call the elites.
Buhari surprised me also in 2015, so I'm not surprised.
Are you surprised that Buhari became president?
No,
he had tried for 3 times, and that was the 4th time.
I'm not, but in this particular case, with the way we were meant to understand that Nigerian politics goes now, how we've seen it, how it's playing out. My brother,
Nigerian politics is.
You see, this particular hope is a dashed one.
It's unpredictable. So wait for the surprise. 2027 will be a big surprise.
Do you remember the day? Do you remember the day Rotimi Amaechi made a statement to Nigerians that if you're looking for a 5 to 9 job, you should travel out of the country. A 9 to 5 job, yeah, you have a chance to get that out of the country. But if you want to be something in Nigeria, or maybe someone that they will recognize, you should stay in Nigeria. And maybe you might sleep and wake up. They might call you to be the governor. He didn't say they will make you the president. He said they might call you to be the governor, or give you one political appointment to another. Presidential race in 2027, both of us will still be on this table. Okay. God's willing to also analyze the outcome or the aftermath of it. Okay. That is all I know.
What I know is that 2027, as we speak, is unpredictable. Nobody knows what is going to happen in 2027.
It's okay.
So you don't go to bank with the fact that, look, it's going to be Tinubu, it's going to be Obi, it's going to be Atiku. It might just be one underdog that will spring up from nowhere, because Nigerians are willing and waiting to see what 2027 and beyond holds for them. Now, let's move away from that. It's always politics, and politics. JAMB has released the 2025 UTME receipt results with 21,082 candidates absent now, given a chance to write a mop-up team. Those that didn't write, those that missed the receipt team, the receipt exam, have another chance to rewrite it. Now, the board also released results for underaged candidates and those involved in online malpractices as a one-time waiver, though underage results remain invalid for admission. But JAMB warned that CBT centers involved in malpractice will be blacklisted and prosecuted, and urged the regulation of tutorial centers that promote cheating. Despite challenges, the board remains committed to computer-based testing, CBT, and plans improvements to its processes. Oh well, the JAMB story is a developing one. It's ongoing. We'll see how it's all going to end. But I think that Ishaq Oloyede has made amends. You know, he's made amends. And one thing about committing an offense is when you commit an offense, you take responsibility and you own up. Nigerians are very forgiving people. I think Nigerians are forgiving Ishaq Oloyede. I don't want to start reading tribal and ethnic dimensions to what happened and all of that. It could actually be a glitch. I said this in the light of the fact that the centers, we have 6 zonal centers, I think 7 of them. So each of these centers have controlling. I'm not trying to explain away the mistake that happened, but I've been trying to understand how it could just be that, look, they set out to a particular ethnic group to say, we want you to fail exam this year. If that is what happened, well, I'm sure the people will not succeed, because the particular ethnic group in question are people we cannot put down, unpundable people. People that are, in fact, in all spheres of life, they are very active. All they're asking is for a level playing ground. So if you bring that up, I'm sure that they are going to excel. Let's move from the ethnic part of it. JAMB has said, look, if you missed your exam, 21,082 students, you have a chance to resit. Now, the major problem here is about CBT centers and malpractices. We have what they call a special centers and all of that. Government should look into that. You have a situation where people score 360, 320, and all of that. They go to their first year. They are unable to pass the first year. So what happened? That is clearly to show you that, look, the results were manipulated. The exam process itself was manipulated. So if there's anything JAMB can do to weave out all those impurities about conducting exams, so that if you pass, let it be that you pass. I have a cousin who runs in a university, is a head of a department, and he was like, after a series of admissions and results and all of this, he said, look, I better admit people that scored C and B, because when they come, you understand that clearly they are the ones that wrote those exams themselves. Because over time, I've discovered that people that were admitted with A's and A's and A's and A's, after the first semester result, you just see that, look, the people are empty and all of that. Now, another thing that got me laughing is the issue of underage students. You filled the form, and you made an undertaking that you are not below 16. And that if you are below 16, you write the exam, that you will not get admitted. Okay, maybe they are just trying to see, to test. Let me just test my intellect and acumen, and let's see if I can pass this exam. So, and JAMB is saying, look, if you're underage, we are not going to admit you into the university. JAMB should put its acts together. Nigerians should forgive Ishaq Oloyede. He has made amends. He admitted. He has taken responsibility for his actions. Despite the fact that people missed the exam, the receipt exam, he has given them another opportunity to receive the exam. I think I give him thumbs up for that. It's a good one. Congratulations, Ishaq.
Now, as you're congratulating him, also talking about the 21,082 candidates that were absent, in the receipt of the examination. There's this question I've been asking all this while. How are they going to write this mop-up examination? Is it the same questions that they were set, the ones that they wrote, earlier, that they are going to be given again to write again? Or do they have, piles of questions already there with JAMB board for them to be ruling out for Nigerians to go sit down and write? Because most times when people, when we have issues like this, they'll tell you that results leak. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Yes.
That question papers
Expo 77.
Expo 77.
Expo 77, that's when it started.
So are we seeing a repetition of such happening at this point in time?
No, I'm not sure. Or, they have a system that generates fresh questions. It doesn't take time, so it can be.
And we hope also that the glaciers that happened the other time will not also affect this mop-up persons that
At least the last mistake that happened, the glaciers didn't affect it.
Now,
there'll be more measure at this time. There'll be more circumspect.
Bring us to that question of what really happened. What really happened? What really transpired, in Lagos and in the Southeast? What really happened? He told Nigerians that he accepted the fault as a leadership, not because that he was frail or he was scared of anybody or anything. He cried. He accepted the fact that the JAMB did not really do well. That led to over 300,000 Nigerians or students not being able to, or having glitches with their examinations, and also the result that he pulled out also being faulted and all that. But now, if you're certain, or if we're certain that the persons who couldn't write these exams, still within the range of 21,000 and above, couldn't write these particular exams, that they will also be able to write it, and their results being generated, as the case may be, without further stories coming up from it, then that shows I will also applaud him. But in the absence of such, I'm waiting for the whole result to come out. Until when parents come up to say, we are no longer contesting. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Or maybe when a particular region, for example, the southeastern part of Nigeria, will come up to say, we accept this particular result. That's when I can actually exempt Oloyede from all this, back and forth, coming up with this examination.
The thing of it is this thing is a one-off incident. It hasn't happened before. If it happens consistently, then we'll begin to look in the direction.
But you know that before parents,
the direction of people deliberate, that it was a deliberate act, And if people are asking Oloyede to resign, is he going to set a standard of resignation? If you ask him to resign, who will stay? Is it the CBN governor?
No.
Is it the NMPC MD that just left?
I for one, have not called for his. I haven't called for his resignation.
No, I'm not talking about you.
But
I'm asking people that are asking him to leave.
Yeah.
Minister of Defense, should he stay? National Security Advisor, should he stay?
A whole lot of persons should tender their resignation.
Where will you start from? So, except we say that the moment Ishaq Oloyede leaves, then others will follow suit. People that have not even accepted responsibility are sitting tight, and this man has said, "Look, this is actually what happened. Should we conduct a forensic investigation into the glitch?" Fina, what happened in 2023 when we conducted the general election? It was a glitch too. Telcos just increased the telecom prices, and we are getting less for what we pay for. So it's a whole lot. And when we are talking about JAMB, to tell you how low we have gone, I recall that when I was writing JAMB, Fina, do you know that people in the UK, people in the Cameroon, people in other parts of West Africa used to write JAMB to come to Nigeria. Both Nigerians and non-Nigerians. Do we still have that? Are you aware?
I don't really think so.
Who wants to come to? In my class, we had 3 Cameroonians. In my class.
Coming to write JAMB.
No. That wrote JAMB and came into university with us.
Oh, I get it now is Nigerians.
Do we still see those things?
Nigerians are living in Nigeria.
And what do you call it? Jabba?
No, I'm talking about students who go out there now to study and come back. I don't know if you noticed it. Nigerian students now move, maybe to get to Ghana, to Cameroon, to other countries.
Even Benin Republic.
Yes.
Even Benin Republic.
Anyway, that speaks to the fact that we have a whole lot of rejigging to do. We have a whole lot of, things to do. We have a whole lot of restructuring to do. Apart from the fact that we're here talking about it, educational sector also look to be looked into, as the case may be. And that's how far we can go on talking about trend and stories. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a quick peep on the cover page of the National Dailies today. The world to stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning. And before our table today, we have the Force News newspaper. The Nation is also available. The Nigerian News Direct, the Matrix, the Guardian newspaper, and the Daily Times, Nigerian Tribune, Daily Sun, Vanguard, and a whole lot more. And I would like to start off from the Daily Tribune, Nigerian Tribune today. The window headlines on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper today reads, FG launches intra-African air cargo corridor with 50% discount. Unlocks East Southern Africa for Nigerians exporters. Utomi Defense Shadow Cabinet calls for democratic renewal. PDP, that's a banner headline. Wike withdraws from peace accords. Riders to that, blames Makinde, vow to fight until justice is served. Claims credit for most PDP governor's election. Controversy rates over national secretary. The story is on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. Ekiti communities endorses Oyebanji for second term. FG moves to deepen $1.5 billion Lekki Port Channel beyond 16.5 meters. NDLEA intercepts 6.5 billion naira opioids in Lagos Rivers Port. Arrest 2 Britons. 2025 UTME 17,025 candidates scores 300 and above. Jammed. Releases result of rescheduled exams. Underage candidates result also released. Atiku, Obi, Amaechi, others in closed-door meeting with National Political Consultative Group. Tensions flare as Jigawa delegates disrupt proceedings. Those are the stories on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, now let's quickly run through the First News newspaper with the big stories there. Beside the nameplate to have Tinubu is God's gift to Nigeria. That's coming from Ato Eze. I'll take that again for clarity. First News newspaper, the big story. Tinubu is God's gift to Nigeria. Ato Eze. Fifi, did you hear that?
I'm not there. Your elder brother was
in case you missed it, let me take that again.
All right.
Tinubu is God's gift to Nigeria. That's coming from Chief Ato Eze. Window headlines. Insecurity. Imports threaten Nigeria's rice production. Farmers lament. Nollywood actor hospitalized after alleged assault by Zubi Michael. No hiding place for criminals. Lagos Task Force arrests 277 in sweeping midnight crackdown. 2025 UTME, unprecedented number of candidates, score 300 plus. That's coming from JAMB. Now the big story itself. Coalition of chaos. Atiku, Obi's anti-APC front implodes. Mid talks. PDP crisis. Wike accuses Makinde of betrayal. Pulls out of peace pact. NAV destroys over 100 illegal refineries in Ondo, Niger State. And the bottom strip. Serap sues CBN for not revealing local government allocations. That's it from First News newspaper.
The Daily Independent is up next. And the window headlines on the cover page of the Daily Independent newspaper reads, Northern leaders back coalition to unseat Tinubu. Right as to that story, coalition concludes discussion in 2 weeks. PDP holds neck meeting amid Wike's threat to short secretariat. Wike withdraws from PDP peace deals, vow to fight on. And the banner headline reads, 516 wildlife strikes hit 20 Nigerian airports in 5 years. Attacks cause damage to aircraft, endanger passengers, crew. Tinubu mining reforms generated $800 million foreign investment. Alake. Let me take that again for clarity purposes and also for emphasis. Tinubu's mining reforms generated $800 million foreign investment. Alake. Serap sues CBN for withholding details of direct payments to LGs. Bandits' threat. Police beef up security around worship centers in Ondo. Listed coins declared 1.1 trillion naira dividends to shareholders in 2024. SEC. Regulatory costs set top-tier lenders back to by 388 billion naira. And the bottom strip headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent today reads, results of 2025 UTME resist exam for 315,763 candidates released. The story is on page 7 of the Daily Independent.
Okay, and up next is the Nation newspaper with the window headlines. Listed companies paid 1 trillion naira dividends in 2024. SEC declares. 99% of candidates scored below average in UTME receipt. That story is on page 5. Power sector reforms raise hopes, but challenges linger. You can find that story on pages 2 and 4 of the Nation newspaper. Now, the big story itself. Wike's walk back on peace deal sinks PDP deeper in confusion. Minister indicts Governor Makinde. Anyanwu shifts tomorrow's NEC meeting. Now, there are more stories from the Nation newspaper. Port Harcourt refinery on hold for 30 days. Atiku, Obi, Amaechi at coalition talks. Malami, Babachi pledge support. $600 million lithium processing plant ready soon, says Alake. Lagos ranked fastest growing in tech. Those are the bottom three headlines. And that's all from the Nation newspaper.
And we can take a quick peep on the cover page of Vanguard newspaper, and the window headlines on the Vanguard newspaper this morning reads that 21,082 candidates absent as 99% scored below 200 in rescheduled UTME jam. And neither Buhari nor Jonathan had Nigeria's interest at heart in 2015. That's coming from Lamido. And the banner headline, Anti-Tinubu Coalition, Atiku Obi others shop for platform. Jigawa delegates disrupts coalition meeting. We will conclude talks in 2 weeks. Mosu, ADC chairman. We are considering SDP or a new party, ADO. Nigeria's problem can be solved from North, Obi. WAEC, NACO release 5 years withheld Zamfara results after government clears debt. WAEC, NACO release 5 years withheld Zamfara results after government clears debt. Tinubu's mining reform attracts $800 million foreign investment. It's coming from Alake. And then we have a picture there. The major picture out there is from coalition meeting that happened in Abuja. We have Atiku and Obi sitting very close and shaking hands with Dirty Baba. And beneath that, FG turns back 8 foreigners without visas. Crisis. PDP, Wike at loggerheads over agreements. Makinde Mba betrayed our agreements. Wike, agreements not binding on us. PDP. Ocean Governor Paul, we won't align with anyone. Aragbe Sola, and those are the stories you'll find on the cover page of Vanguard newspaper. Okay, let's quickly run through the Guardian with the big story. Despite 7 trillion subsidy savings, states fail to cushion hardship, hunger. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. 2 years post-fail subsidy removal. There's an infographic there. Guardian is very good at that. 7 trillion naira estimated saved in 2 years of subsidy removal. FAC allocation, price per litre, inflation, exchange rate, and all of that. And federal government unveils air cargo corridor, offers Nigerian exporters 50% discount. That story is on page 23. 71% of rescheduled UTME candidates scored below 200, says JAMB. North holds key to solving Nigeria's problem, says Peter Obi. I'll take that again for clarity. North holds key to solving Nigeria's problems, says Obi. Military destroys over 100 illegal refinery sites in 5 months. That story is on page 8. Wokobia Adebayo blast APC's fear-driven strategy, urge Tinubu to govern. PDP postpones NEC meeting amid uncertainty over action against Atiku. Wike. IPI flays Eno for removing Channels TV crew from Akwa Ibom's government house. And that's all from the Guardian newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines this morning. Fina and I will come back at 10 o'clock
for a more expanded review of newspaper headlines. We'll go for a short break now. When we come back, Atiku will attend Northern Consultative Meeting amid 2027 coalition talks as Obi reaffirms loyalty to Labour Party. Join us again.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Kiki. Keep watching VOP TV. Thanks.
Hey guys, what's going on? Olumide Oru, the Fresh Prince of Lagos here, and this is VOP TV, guys.
Hello guys, I want you to please keep on watching VOP TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiz Oyetoro. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Shout out to VOP TV.
Very big shout out to the fans and lovers of VOP TV. My name is Tayo Faduro. I'm an actor that you are going to live to love. Keep watching. Cheers.
Hi everyone, so shout out to VOP TV.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more.
Join me on Sundays every 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People TV.
Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Osho Oshodi is a vibrant, bustling district in Lagos, Nigeria, known for its energetic mix of commerce, culture, and resilience. It is a place where opportunity and chaos thrive together, reflecting the city's dynamic spirit. Before Oshodi became a symbol of Lagos hustle, it was a quiet settlement occupied by the Awori people, one of the earliest Yoruba subgroups in the region. The name Oshodi is
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People Television. Ex-vice presidential candidate for the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party's PDP, Labour Party's Peter Obi, I beg your pardon, arrived in Abuja for the National Political Consultative Group, a Northern meeting, a platform believed to be prepared by Northern political stakeholders for the 2027 presidential elections. The meeting attracted several key political figures and discussed Nigeria's current challenges, including widespread poverty and the North's potential for national transformation. Meanwhile, Peter Obi reassured supporters that he will continue to contest the election on the Labour Party's platform, despite ongoing coalition talks among opposition parties. He blamed the political party crisis on government interference and called for voter responsibility and reforms, including introducing a retirement age for politicians. Obi emphasized the need for a strong opposition to ensure a functional political system in Nigeria. We have with us in the studio, we have Barrister Darlington Agomo, a political analyst, and Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a political analyst also, and a public affairs commentator. Also, we're going to our Benin studios and also Port Harcourt studios, and even Abuja, where we'll have analysts standing by to help join today's conversation and analyze it the way it should be. Good morning, gentlemen in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Akin Fatunke. Good to have you join today's conversation.
How are you?
Good morning, Barrister Darlington.
Good
to have you in today's conversation.
Always a pleasure.
Interestingly, we learned that there was a meeting that happened in Abuja, and in that particular meeting, we saw the northern political elites, and Peter Obi also was there with Atiku Abubakar. And this was as Nigerians are getting permutation about a possible coalition. As the ADC that we're using at this point in time, are we going for SDP? And all we know is that so many persons are grieved with this present administration, and they're working very well, working tirelessly to find a way to outset it. Now, Barrister, let me come to you this morning. Do you think that this particular talk or this particular permutation about measure in any way can hold water against the APC for the 2027 election, given the fact that persons are talking about the people involved? I'm talking about having the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Rufai, who we know have been within the corridors of power for so long, championing or manning this coalition of measure talks.
No, right now, what we know is Atiku and Peter Obi. They have been the front-line opposition candidate. So, I don't think there's any other way to go except this coalition. Because if they fail to achieve it, then it's goodbye to Nigeria, because Tinubu is going to give us a one-party state. If they don't succeed for whatever reason, if Tinubu gets into there the second term, he will make sure that Nigeria becomes a one-party state. He has already said it. And with what we are seeing so far, Nigeria needs an opposition to stop this thing before it becomes a problem, a monster that we cannot control. So the opposition must succeed at all costs. I said at all costs.
Well, Barrister Darlington, yesterday during that particular meeting, we also saw some persons, walking out, or rather staging a mini protest within that particular zone for the meeting. Some persons were against an individual that they called to come address them, saying that such a person cannot be allowed to address them at this point in time? Are we seeing a northern part or a northern political elites now also being divided at this point in time? And if we're seeing such a thing at the first stage of the meeting, where talks for possible coalition or merger is being, is being held, then where are we really headed to?
Fina, whenever the Pope wants to canonize a saint, something happened that people are not paying attention to. There is always a personality called the devil's advocate. This person will come and tell the Pope why this person should not be canonized. He will be saying all the bad things about the person, saying everything. Deliberately, they will invite him to come and say all the things that will make them not to canonize. At the end of the day, the Pope will have his way and canonize that person. So this whole position, yes, they are part of the court jesters you see in the king's palace. Anywhere there is a king, go and check, there are court jesters. They are there to bring a comic relief. Okay. It will not stop the king from doing what he wants to do.
Why will you say that they are court jesters? Well, we see, delegates from Jigawa State at this point in time, Barrister Darlington, they are the ones disrupting this particular precedent.
Who are they?
Calling that they don't want a particular political bigwig to speak to them, saying that he does not have what it takes to speak to them.
Who's that big wig?
And they went ahead to appoint Sulei's son to come and address them. And immediately that was done. People come down and listen to the address.
So can't you see the joke here? Can't you see the joke here? If the big wig they don't want is placed side by side with the Sulei's son, are they equal? No, tell me, are they equal? Don't you know that they are sponsored? That big wig, they don't want him to talk to them. And these other people that are in government today, who is even more corrupt when you check their background?
Okay.
So what are you saying? Right. Those things are just part of the side show.
Okay, side show indeed.
Yeah,
let's bring Mr. Fatuke into this conversation. Mr. Aki, there are talks about opposition, coalition between Atiku Abubakar, El-Rufai, Peter Obi, Amaechi, and all of that. But yesterday, Peter Obi also made a revelation. He said, I'm going to run on the platform of the Labour Party. Where does that leave the coalition? Does it look like the PDP, the ADC, LDP, they are coming to LUP? Is that going to be a good ground for them? Or how do you think that this coalition would work in light of the fact that Peter Obi has clearly said, look, I'm going to run on the platform of the Labour Party? Does that mean that the coalition is dead on arrival or what?
Thank you very much. And again, good morning to our listeners, our discerning listeners, that is. And I will take solace in Shakespeare, in the words of Macbeth. After listening to the talk of the three witches, who had said he was going to be king, and then they were saying that there's going to be a lot of blood on the way. And in sobriety, he made these profound statements. This soliciting soliloquy cannot be good, cannot be ill. Because if it were to be good, certain things will have taken place. If it were to be bad, so there is a bit of a confusion. What James Hadley Chase will call a thriller. That is the way I will look at it. Specifically, Chukwuma, I'm glad about one thing, and that is my plea or my prognosis as regards what is going to happen as we move towards 2027 is that I see a coming back home of the two gladiators that threw in their hats, and because of apparent lack of strategy, they were not able to come together to form a formidable team that would have prevented Bola Tinubu from coming in 2023. And that strategy now is kind of replaying itself. And I had proposed that, look, either of two things will happen. Atiku Abubakar should be a statesman. A statesman. A statesman in the order of statesmen that we know and we have always admired, even in Africa and Nigeria. And that Peter Obi has not only paid his dues over time, right from the beginning, I don't want to go back, paid, and he has paid the second fiddle, not just to the north, but basically even to Peter, to Atiku Abubakar. He had delivered, politically and politically speaking. And the chance arose for Peter Obi to now then say, look, it's now your turn. Ibiloko. And Atiku blatantly refused. The outcome is what we are seeing. I'm not talking from moral. I know politicians, they are in a different kettle of fish. And like I always say, the greatest die-in-wood politicians we have in Nigeria are from the northern region. And we all pursue our different angles. But you know, it comes a time.
Okay.
There comes a time when that should happen. The other option will be, Peter Obi, for God's sake, swallow your baton. Go back and see how you are going to play the second fiddle once again. What I foresee is going to happen is, again, within the two angles, at the last minute, hopefully it will not be too late, Atiku will now be the statesman that we all pray he should be. So, and he will raise Peter Obi's hand.
Now, when you say that...
Or Peter Obi, all the dance that we are seeing, I will still play with labor and all that kind of stuff. It's like my dear brothers here said, politicians will be politicians.
Okay,
they say something in the morning, they say something. They will play the second fiddle, and the two of them will.
All right, but Barrister, you were shaking your head when Mr. Ake was speaking.
Yes, because...
Do you have any points of disagreement?
Because you see, this permutation about North and South, you should put it into consideration, whatever you're telling Peter Obi. Ms. Okoro, if Peter Obi should accept now to run for one term, because it is the turn of the South to complete the 8 years of the South. That means after one term, he will now leave it for the North. It will go back to the North. And the North will now do a full 8 years. Meanwhile, the Southeast that have been clamoring that they want to rule Nigeria for one will just do 4 years, Abi. Is that what you are saying? Because that is what is going to be if what some people are saying should happen. But I am saying, let Peter Obi work with Atiku. Let Atiku do their whatever. Either 4 years or 8 years or even 200 years old. Anytime he comes down to the South here, Peter Obi will not drag it with anybody. It must be the turn of the Southeast.
Barrister, if Atiku comes in 2027, he'll have upset the balance. The agreement between the North and the South.
There is no agreement here, please. Don't go there.
Gentleman, not conventional.
Whether gentleman,
sorry, conventional.
Whether gentleman or ruffians, there's no agreement. Everything you are talking about, democracy and politics, it must be written in our constitution. That is where you get the ground. All this is just convenience sake, created by people for their selfish interest. If not, this thing does not hold water. So that shows... Look at it this way. The North have ruled Nigeria for how many years? Both military and civilian. Why don't you count how many years the North have ruled Nigeria and say, okay, North, you people should have to wait. Let the South rule up to that equal number of years before we can now begin to talk of any other thing.
Okay.
Why is it that when it comes to South here, you say you begin to bring up issues that do not add up?
When you say that whatever thing we have to say must be infused in our constitution, that shows this particular talk about someone's having just a single term and letting Peter Obi take over is not also written in our constitution. So how are we going to see that play out since it's not in the constitution?
Right now, the only region that have been shortchanged when this since this is started is the Southeast.
The Northeast also will tell you that they are also
North is not. Please, North is not.
So why won't South be South if you're talking about that in that way?
North is not. The Southeast have been shortchanged.
No, Barrister, if North is North and you're taking out the Northeast, then South should also be South. Why talk about Southeast and North and South?
Listen very well. When you come to the permutation you are talking about, it is the Southeast that have been shortchanged. Because if you are talking of any other region in the South here, the Southwest are taken, the South are taken. Why would you exclude the South?
Are the North Southeast now shortchanged with the likes of Atiku, who we know is a prominent man from the southeastern part of Nigeria today, in one of the national dailies, saying that the present president is a blessing to Nigeria.
It's a blessing to him. He should go and tell us what he's doing with Tinubu. It's a blessing to him. These people should stop selling the Southeast. They should stop selling the South. Look, this thing it will become a problem in the South. Why can they be talking like that? Which blessing?
Okay, Barrister.
Hold on. Why is that all? Say what is the
Barrister? Atoezi is entitled to his
that opinion. He should not be selling also for his own selfish interest. That's what I'm saying. He won't say a blessing to the Southeast. He didn't say a blessing to me.
No, he said it's a blessing to Nigeria, not the Southeast. That Tinubu is a blessing.
It's even worse. It's even worse.
It's a God's gift to Nigeria.
Mr. Okolo, why can't these people, first of all, do public opinion? Let Tinubu know what Nigerians feel about it, because they do it in America during your midterm.
Opinion poll.
Opinion poll. So that it will help him to know how much is loved. After all, the election he won was with 37%. Where is the love there? 37% that you're claiming of Nigeria.
Apparently, it wasn't Tinubu that asked Nigerians not to come out to vote. So if you won with 37%,
no, the fact
shows you the level of voting.
The one that came out, Mr. Okolo, 80 plus 6 is not 14, and he won by 8 million votes himself alone. So if you add the number of people who did not vote him, Tinubu lost that election.
Okay.
He should have won
Unfortunately, our system is first past the post.
No, that's what I'm saying. So he should have won by one margin, so that both Obi and Atiku wouldn't even come close to his margin. Okay. That's what I'm saying. So he didn't win that election. He didn't.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. Let's go to Benin, where we've been joined by Mr. Blessed Jato. Blessed Jato is Executive Director, Kadosh Initiative for Justice and Environmental Development, Political Advisor to United Nations and ECOWAS Peace Support Operations in Africa. He's a public affairs analyst, political commentator, and human rights activist. Good morning to you, Mr. Blessed Jato, and thanks for coming to VOP this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, very well then. Now, you followed this conversation. We are talking about the coalition ahead of 2027 to wrest power from the APC. Obi, Atiku, El-Rufai, Rotimi Amaechi, and a whole lot of political bigwigs are in talks about how to come together and form a coalition party. And last week they said it was ADC, and some time ago they were looking at SDP and all of that. But something curious happened yesterday. Obi said, I'm going to run on the platform of the Labour Party. Where does that leave the talk? Do you have an idea? Can you hazard a guess about what is going to happen? Does it look like they are going to come to the Labour Party, or does it look like the coalition talk is already dead on arrival? What do you think, sir?
Well, thank you very much. When we take our mind back to what happened in the last election, you will realize there were several talk among the key players, Kwankwanso, Obi, Atiku, even though it was not a formal coalition as they are trying to do now, but they had these talks. Who should run with who should walk with who should step down for who should partner with who, and all of that. At the end of the day, they were not able to reach any meaningful agreement. Kwankwanso, for one, did not see himself as a person who will step down to run as vice for another person. And then Atiku in itself is a demigod to whom every other person must bow and worship. And then Obi was a very determined person who in itself also knew what he wanted. At the end of the day, everybody went on their own. Now, these three persons are still the key players in this proposed coalition. Now, if somebody is saying, I'm going to run under my party, he's directly saying, I do not subscribe to this coalition. And to be very honest, will Atiku Abubakar at any time ever step down for any of this person? The answer is a no. So this coalition as it stands right now, like you have using your very language, is dead on arrival. And we are going to see the effect of that in the coming days. But my worry is this. when I see the caliber of persons that congregated in this place, I just told me, if this person have come together because they are passionate about fixing Nigeria, if they have come together because there is a problem, they want to put together their wealth of experience to fix the country, it would have been commendable. But all I could see is a group of desperate and greedy people concerned about only their interests, congregating to restore power. Don't forget, this is not the first time we are seeing a coalition like this, devoid of Nigeria in their ideology. They just want to restore power. The APC, the coalition that brought in the current APC, they wanted Jonathan out at all costs without putting anything concrete on the table. And what we saw was 8 years of backwardness, and now another 2 years of backwardness. Because these persons that were coming together to restore power have no alternative solution. They are preferring to what they call bad governance. When
you say they don't have any solution at this point in time, you made mention of the persons who attended that particular meeting, having just their personal interests at heart because they want to restore power. The likes of Peter Obi is one person Nigerians will tell you that he has been so verbose about things he can do for the nation. And he also will tell you to go to the state where he governed for 8 years and then see things for yourself. Peter Obi also will wake up to tell you or prefer solutions. Yesterday when he was talking in that meeting, he said that it's high time we forget about religious and ethnic issues during election. It's high time we embrace competence. Are we seeing that playing out at this point in time? Do you think that Nigerians are ready to go for competence over religion and ethnic bigotry?
No, Nigerians are not ready. Nigeria is a very sentimental, very religious, and very gullible set of people. Now, you just mentioned the Obi narrative. First of all, this man had come out to say, I want to run under my current party. It's because he's seen the caliber of persons that are there. He's seen their insincerity, he's seen their lack of ideology, and he's telling you, I cannot fit in. So if you invite me to join the coalition, I am coming, I took the mic and I tell you, I'm going to run in my own party. Okay. I'm just simply telling you, all right, this coalition has nothing to offer me.
Mr. Jato, let me stay with you. Mr. Jato, let me stay with you. How much impact do you think that Obi can make with Labour Party as a standalone, in Labour Party in 2027? Do you think he will be able to... again. How much impact, if Obi runs on the platform of the Labour Party, how much impact do you think he will make, as a standalone, devoid of this coalition? Do you think he's able to reenact the momentum of 2023 from everything that you see happen in the politics? Is he able to do that?
Well, this is a very interesting question. If he could not do it before, the truth is he will still not be able to do. Don't also forget, the Labour Party since after the last election have been entrenched in internal fighting and conflict and crisis. It's even a house that is divided against itself. But one thing I believe Peter Obi can do, he can look for alliance, he can look for persons to work with outside this current coalition setting, because the two key players in this current coalition, they are not people that today or tomorrow or anytime in the future will step down for Peter Obi. Atiku Abubakar will not. We have seen this level of crude desperation that the man has shown consistently over the years. Okay. And I am very sure right now, even his body language is telling you, I am not ready to quit anytime soon.
Okay. All right. Then. Thank you very much, Mr. Jato. Thank you very much, Mr. Jato. We are out of time, so we need to come back to the studio and wrap up this conversation. But Mr. Darlington,
yes.
Do you think that Obi can go it alone?
He will not. It's not possible. It would have been better, it would have been possible in 2023, but now, it will not be possible. And Obi and a Tinubu from the south running head to head is not possible. It will be a mismatch. That is why I still believe that Obi is applying one of the laws in the 48 laws of power. And that means you are not expected to tell your enemy where you are going. The fluidity of your actions and your plans should be kept to your chest so that your enemy will be thinking you are going right, meanwhile your intention is to go left. So I think that both himself and Atiku, they are keeping their trump card close to their chest so that APC may not even know where they are going till the last minute. Because the paper this morning is telling you that they are shopping for a platform. Look at the word. They are shopping for a platform. And ADC chairman is saying that they will conclude this coalition in 2 weeks' time. So talks are still going on. They don't want to tell...
So does it look like Obi is trying to play a decoy?
Of course, now that's what to do now, because you can see now wherever they go, talks and moles are following them all over the place. So they don't want to come out clearly to say this is where we are going until the last minute so that they can shock everybody. That's what I think they are doing. Right. If not, the talks will not be going on. If not, they will not be talking about coalition by now.
All right, Mr. Fatunke, when you were talking earlier, you talked about how important the North is in Nigeria's political space and all that. Yesterday, Peter Obi made a statement when he said that at this point in time, he said Nigeria's problem can be solved from the North. Do you think that he actually is making a good statement when he pointed to that North, saying that Nigeria's problem can be solved from that particular space? What do you think happened to be the Nigerian problem, and why, again, is it that it's been limited to the northern part of Nigeria?
Because Peter Obi is wisening up. Hard, bitter truth that the rank and file are not ready to face. In 2023, it was, remember, religion. Now he's wearing turban. He's now reaching out to the, because that is the reality. Okay, that is the rough jacket. The people who begin to talk outside the rough jacket, well, again, in my own mind, they are masturbating themselves. I agree with Peter Obi that the problems of Nigeria, and it didn't start with Peter Obi saying this, the problem of Nigeria has been the behemoth North. Take it or leave it. It will take Peter Obi. You know, I always say, take Peter Obi out of the way. When you come to all the indices of human capital development existence, it's more in the North. The issue of population is in the North. And the North has said to all of us, without exception, that without them, they cannot rule. So everything is being skewed towards that. No, so okay. Your question, when you say that, does he feel, do I feel that his statement is a statement of fact? And it's another step in my own thinking of what I said earlier, which Barrister Darlington is making a reference to. It's still a decoy. It's still a decoy. I am prepared to play the second fiddle.
What are the problems that Nigeria has? What are the problems that Nigeria has?
I am prepared to play the second fiddle.
Because I need to know.
Atiku knows we have an agreement between us. He will step down at the last minute. Either way, see what happened. You are talking about Jigawa. Sule Lamido's son was now picked. If the son of a particular person is picked to come and do, everything will go wire. They are all shame of shame, like we say. But unfortunately, time is running out. I think, like I've said so many times before, the Jagaban of Bogu is having a field easy day to get a second time.
Okay, Barrister, what Fina and I are saying is that Peter Obi says that you solve Nigeria's problem from the north. He didn't say that the north is Nigeria's problem. I think these are two different things.
Exactly.
So when he says the north is Nigeria's problem, are you able to
exactly is the problem that Nigeria
No, they are two different things.
Okay.
You see, even if there is a problem in the north, especially when it comes to electoral matters, it is you and I that allowed it, because up till now, a proper census has not been done in Nigeria. Based on what happened when Jonathan wanted to do a census, a correct census, and he appointed Festus Odimegu to give us a proper census. If the North are confident that they have this number, why should they Kwakwanso drive all the way to Abuja, Aso Rock, and went to Jonathan and said, look, Jonathan, if you want to get a second term, you must remove this your NPC man, Festus Odimegu. You know he came from the Biriwi. He had been taking too much beer. And Jonathan backed down. And removed the man. Until today, have we had any other census? So, this blackmail with numbers, let us interrogate it for once. The people that the North are boasting with, or the figure they are banning, are they truly Nigerians? Because if my figures are right, in the last 8 years or to 10 years now, foreigners that have entered Nigeria are over 1 million, if not more. And all of them are there in the North. You mean when you are doing census or when you are doing election, these people will vote and they will be counted. And you are claiming you have the numbers. No!
But so how certain are we that the persons that come into Nigeria are residing in the North? Last week we learned about how I think a certain number of persons are somewhere in Lagos seeking for a job opportunity. We also got that report. So how, when you say that over 1 million persons come into Nigeria and they're in the North,
who are their names? Who are their names? What are their names? The people that are seeking for a job in Lagos, where did they come from? Where did they come from? No, these are things you must find out now so that you know. It's important because from the time of history, the desert area have never been overpopulated than the savanna or the the densely populated swamp of the south. It has never happened geographically. It is not possible. It can never be. Look at Lagos. What's the size of Lagos? 3,577,000 square meters. That's the size of Lagos. How many people are here? The most populated state in the whole of Nigeria. How many? Look at that. So what are you saying? How can this small land contain so much and then Niger State that has 76,000 square kilometers, the size of the entire Southwest, just have 8 million people?
So doesn't that contradict your fact of saying that persons, over 1 million of persons that come into Nigeria illegally, like you pointed out,
I am telling, oh no, why would I contradict? I said, this large number that the North are claiming is just land, empty land. That's what they are boasting with, empty land. No human beings are there. And I said,
exactly the point, Barrister, I think we should be talking about population density.
And I'm telling you that because the North have been using to blackmail you and I. And you are not interrogating it. I'll give you an example here. I said Lagos has 3,577,000 square kilometers. And Niger State, the size of the entire Southwest, has 8 million people.
Okay,
so what are you talking about here?
So on the reverse side, you are saying that Niger should have more population.
But with the head because of what they don't have it. So they are talking of land. They are going to use to blackmail you because they have land. How many people are on those land? And I give the example with Lagos here, 3,000.
All right, thank you, Barrister. Let's go to Benin and get Mr. Jato to comment on. I want us to walk back to the coalition. Mr. Jato, in 2013, between 2012-13, there was this arrangement. There were coalition talks between the CPC, between the APC, between the CPC, the ACN, and the AMPP. And more like what is happening now is exactly what is happening then, what happened then. Because I was part of it. I spoke to John Momo, I spoke to Shaibu Lawal, and I spoke to who else again? A lot of them, At a point, this person will deny, another person will accept, this person will say, look, talks are ongoing, and at a point they will say, talks have broken down. So does it look like the politicians know what they are doing? They are not playing all the cards before us. They are just meeting and not giving Nigerians the true information. Because at the end of the day, when we saw the APC come out, it emerged stronger than the information that we had. Does it look like Peter Obi, El-Rufai, Amaechi, Atiku, are they playing that old same game? Is that what is happening? And do you think that, keep going back to that question, do you think that they are able to wrest power from Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027, considering what most Nigerians call state capture, like all the institutions of government have already been captured, the legislature, the judiciary, the police, the security agencies, and all of that. Do you think they're able to take power away from the APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu in particular? Mr. Jato, please, you need to unmute your device, your mic, so that we can get your audio feed. Okay, there seems to be a network glitch there. Let's come back to the studio before we wrap up this conversation. Barrister Darlington.
Yes.
You heard what I asked, the question that I
asked. They will. You know, things cannot continue forever in a very wrong direction. At a point, somebody will say, no, let us put a stop to this, let us put a stop to this bad rubbish.
Barrister, are we traveling the wrong direction?
Yes, no. You know, election have been won in Nigeria over the year through rigging. But I thank God that they not are telling you today that if they rig the 2027 election, there will be no Nigeria. So I pray that they will keep to their word so that nobody will try to tamper with the votes. They will not know all this Mr. Strategy, all this whatever. We now know whether actually Nigerians love you or you are just imposing yourself on them. That's the only way to find out. It's not a way nobody can remove him from office. He is this and that. Who is he?
Okay.
It's all about the people. Let the people's vote to count, and they will not know the strength of Tinubu.
Okay, Barrister, thank you very much for your thought. Let's go back to Mr. Jato. Mr. Jato, go ahead, sir, with your response. Go ahead, sir. I can hear you. Sorry, say something so that. Can you hear me?
Can hear. No.
We can hear you now.
Okay, as the tech team is trying to fix
this is the network that have increased their price. So
let's come back to the studio. Mr. Fatuke, are we traveling in the wrong direction?
Well, it depends on what you really mean by wrong direction. Nigeria has been in a very, very bad place, even from independence in terms of the way we have structured ourselves. We have been very, very, very unfair, okay? We have lied to ourselves. We say we have a constitution that's lied to itself and all that. So if that is what you mean by traveling in the wrong direction, yes, we are. The truth of the matter is that we are different people, different tongues, and different tribes. And no matter how you want to placate and collate, I mean, you can't continue to want to do the wrong thing.
Okay, let's I want us to bring it down to
different results.
So now, in this administration, are we traveling in the wrong direction?
I think we are making some form of progress. And in fact, Mr. Jato has said that it's wrong. No, I think slowly we are making reforms that are hard, very difficult, but is making governance better. I will just mention three.
Okay.
One is the tax reforms that is supposed to look at the poorest of the poor. Those who are poor should not pay taxes, and to begin to codify fighting the way they should. I'm looking at the local government autonomy, which, you know, the state governors are blocking one way or the other, even though a set direction has been given. And then the fuel subsidy and the alignment of the foreign exchange, which, yes, I agree, is harsh, is tough, is difficult, no doubt about that. But some monies have been made and be given back to the states so that we can begin to now make some progress.
K, are you aware that Nigeria spent about 4 trillion naira to maintain the 3 refineries in a space of how many years?
Yes.
Now, the information we have now is that the Port Harcourt refinery is being shut down again.
Yes.
For another maintenance for 30 days.
Yes.
So where does that leave us?
And another money.
And I'll tell you that if that is where you want to pick it up, then begin to look at the refineries. It was run down. Trillions upon trillions is an avenue, in my honest opinion, for corruption. It's corruption. It's a lot of corruption. And part of it is what we are trying to unravel. The Bola Tinubu administration has surreptitiously now taken its time And a forensic audit is going to be undertaken at least for the immediate past, something like that happens to
Mr. Fatunke, are you aware that a certain 7.7 trillion naira will be paid as subsidy for fuel consumed by Nigerians between June 2023 and September 2024? 7.74 trillion. Are you aware, sir?
I'm not aware.
Okay.
Please,
we discuss it here.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
No, Barrister,
yes,
Barrister,
please,
Mr.
Okoro.
I
thought you are done.
Okay, I'm done.
Sorry, land on your thoughts, sir.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
Please, let us not count what is not there. Are you going to say, when you are talking of success must be tangible. You must say, yes, I have achieved this. Everything he mentioned there, which of them is beneficial or working for Nigerians as of today? Are they not in court? Which of them? None. It's just paperwork. So why are you counting it as part of the achievement? He has achieved nothing. Even himself, he knows. All the things we mentioned here that Tinubu, where are they? They are all in court. It's not working, and it will never work. So why can't you pick those things that you know you can achieve, that you won't have problem with them, instead of running on a wild goose chase with tax reform that will not benefit the poor? Mr. Okoro, when they remove this fuel subsidy, Tinubu told us that it will benefit the poorest of the poor. Is that not true? And I ask you today, how are the poor benefiting from fuel subsidy removal? Nobody has answered that question. That was the first thing he told us, that the elite of the elite are the one enjoying the fuel subsidy. He removed it because of the poor. Is the poor not worse off today with the fuel subsidy he removed? Where is the benefit? So when you say the poor of them will not pay tax, the big men, are they paying tax? Mention any billionaire that is paying equal tax according to his wealth. Mention. None of them. So the poor are still suffering. Is they even worse off today? So what are you saying about the poor? What are they benefiting, Mr. Okoro? Tell me.
Barrister Darlington, due to want of time, I will continue this conversation, another day. But here's where we'll wrap up the first conversation on this table. And I will thank you so much, Barrister Darlington Agumo, for being part of this first topic. We understand that we have to let you go. But Mr. Akin Fatunke and Mr. Blessed Jato will encourage you to please be with us as we move over to the second topic of conversation. IPOB rejects renaming of Biafra Heroes Day as Igbo Day. Vows to sit at home on May 30. Do well to stay with us, because we're traders after this quick break.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on. Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends generations, offering guidance to youth leaders, diplomats, technocrats, and future change makers. We unveil the wisdom, resilience, and achievements that shapes our nation and the world. Join us every Sunday on Voice of the People Television. Reminiscence, legacies that leads the way, stories that lives on.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has vehemently rejected attempts to rename the annual Biafra Heroes Day, observed on May 30, as Igbo Day. In a statement by its spokesperson, Emma Powerful, the group emphasized that the day is dedicated to remembering all who died during the Nigerian Civil War, regardless of ethnicity, not just the Igbo people. IPOB condemned those pushing the name change, labeling them as politically compromised charlatans, and warning that such actions dishonor the sacrifices of over 3 million who died for Biafra. IPOB declared that Biafra Heroes Day is a sacred observance, likening it to Europe's VE Day, and described any attempt to alter its meaning as historical distortion and disrespect. It reaffirmed May 30 as a sit-at-home day marked with solemn activities, including prayers and candlelight vigils across Biafran territories and diaspora. The group issued a stern warning to politicians and critics, declaring it will no longer entertain debates over the day's identity and calling for respect for the legacy of Biafran matters. Well, we still have here in the studio with us Mr. Akin Fatuke, who joined us during the first conversation. From Bini, we also have Mr. Blazer Jato. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. Mr. Jato, let me start with you. Biafra Heroes Day, May 30th, I think that's about Friday or sometime within the week. And the Igbo people, a group of elders said, look, let's rename it the Igbo Heroes Day instead of Biafra Heroes Day. I don't know, are they trying to stay away from trouble or all of that? What's your reaction to the people of the Southeast trying to observe a memorial in honor of those who died during the Civil War? Over 3 million people slaughtered on both sides of the divide. What's your reaction to the observance of Biafra Heroes Day that they want to change to Igbo Heroes Day? Can we have your broad reaction to all
consistently done in Nigeria over the years is to erase our history from where the colonialists left off. We on our own had continued that futile journey of constantly trying to change and rewrite and erase history as much as we can. Now, the May 30 Biafra Day is not just only a day set aside to celebrate or remember the Igbos. Don't forget, it is not only the Igbos that died. In the over 2 million persons that died, they were not all Igbos. Several other ethnic groups were involved in that struggle, and they lost their life trying to ensure a young country survive. You see, this whole narrative of trying to have an Igbo Day instead of the Biafra Heroes Day is all part of the same skewed narrative the Nigerian government have pushed over the years when they use the term Nigerian Civil War. See, the truth is, if we are going to get it right, we must go back to the basics to set the record straight that in 1967, there was not a civil war in Nigeria. It was a Nigerian Biafra war. It was a war that was fought between two countries. Biafra did not only declare their independence, they survived as a country for 3 solid years. Now, within these 3 years, all the indices, everything you need to be a country was there. They had their currency, they involved in international diplomacy and relations, they produced the things they needed locally to survive, and every other thing a country should have. It was a Nigerian Biafra war, not a civil war. You see, this is part of the injustice and a deliberate attempt of rewriting history. And until we get it right at that level, every other negative narrative will continue to fall. I do not see any reason why people will get up one day and say, okay, we should no longer have a... You see, some of the Igbo leaders, they are also playing into this Nigeria politics. They are playing into the hand of some political dictators that determine what is qualified to be our history, what is qualified to be our lifestyle and what is not qualified to be. What we have was a Nigerian Biafra war, and what has been celebrated since then is a Biafra hero. Then I really think they should leave it the way it is.
Okay, all right, Mr. Jato. So of the argument that look, Biafra is not an Igbo word, that it is Portuguese. So why use that name, Biafra Heroes Day? They say it's not Igbo, it's Portuguese. Do that make sense when they push out that argument?
Mr. Chukuma, there was a country, and that country was called Biafra. If the Igbo leaders did not challenge the name of that country then, the Igbo people with other ethnic groups fought to defend that name, died defending that name. Now, if the generation of the persons that were actively involved in the struggle see nothing wrong with it, I do not see any reason why people see. Sometimes we just focus on things that are not necessary, things that are not important. On what ground was the war fought? It was under the name, the country called Biafra.
Interestingly,
and
Mr.
for anybody to say because it's not an Igbo word, let's do away with it and have an Igbo day, they will also now be insulting the memory of the non-Igbos that died in the war.
Just from what you just pointed out now, Mr. Ato, we learned that, you just made mention of a country existing that also lived for 3 years, and there was a war that was fought and all that. But in this present dispensation, we learned that even the Biafra, as the case may be, have been proscribed. And at this point in time, IPOB is being tagged a terrorist organization in Nigeria by the present administration. Now, do you see, Nigeria as a country having a Biafra problem, or what? Help us walk around it. The prescription of Biafra or indigenous people of Biafra, even when they were a country, even after the Abuja Accord declaration and all that, to this point in time.
See, first of all, the proscription of Biafra was anti-constitutional. You see, what we have done over the years is we have pampered terrorists, and then we proscribe people who were lawfully doing their constitutional rights, right to assembly, right to association. We proscribe them as terrorists, and those who were the core terrorists that we know, we call them a beautiful name, bandits, so that the wrath of the weight of the law will not be channeled towards them because they were our brothers, as it were, back then. You see, the whole proscribing of Biafra thing, what is the constitutional basis for it? In itself, it was illegal. What were these persons doing? They were manifesting their right, they were executing their right to belong, right to association, right to form and join an association. If they also said, we are tired of being Nigeria, it is also a constitutional right recognized by all international laws and protocol, right to self-defense. Now, the problem we have in Nigeria, is it really a Biafra problem? Since Biafra was proscribed, has anything changed in the whole Nigeria? Rather, what we have seen is more insecurity compared to how it was before the illegal proscription of the group called IPO. So if Nigerian have acted since 1970 as if the Igbos are the problems of Nigeria. Our problem is bad governance and the fact that we continue to weaponize disunity for political gain. The fact that we continue to amplify the things that are not working, the things that divide us for political gain, and even when certain persons finally get the power, it is all about themselves. That is the problem we are having.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Jato. I think that you have raised another talking point, which we might have to expand another day. Before we come back to the studio, let's go to Port Harcourt, where we have Elder Lekia Christian standing by for us. Elder Lekia Christian is a public affairs analyst, social justice crusader. He's the president of Niger Delta Coalition Against Violence. Good morning to you, Elder Christian. Hello, Elder Christian, can you hear me? Okay, you might need to unmute your mic so that we can get your audio feed.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, sir. Welcome to VOP this morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I'm sure you have followed the conversation. We are talking about the May 30th observance of the Biafra or Igbo Memorial Day. Which one are we choosing now? Igbo elders said, look, you have to make it Igbo Memorial Day. And IPOB says Biafra Memorial Day in all of these. I think the question I'd like for you to ask, I'd like to ask you is, what exactly, in your opinion, should it be Biafra Memorial Day or Igbo Memorial Day to commemorate and remember those who lost their lives during the Biafran War? And I'd like for you to relate it, I'd like for you to relate it with the current situation where some people are saying, look, the core Southeasters, the 5 of them, if you people want to be Biafra, please be Biafra. Leave us out of it. We have people from River State, we have people from Benue State, we have people from Cross River State saying, look, we are not part of Biafra. We are clearly not part of you. I would like for you to, within the context of that, what should we be observing? What should the Southeasterners be observing? Is it the Igbo Memorial Day or the Biafra Memorial Day? Your broad reaction, sir.
Well, the truth remains the truth any day, any time. And as a matter of fact, the identity crisis that is associated with the change of name is going to do nobody any good. To begin with, IPOB is younger than Biafra. This is a set of young men who came after the Civil War to think of, and even the proscription, it was IPOB that was proscribed. The leader of Biafra, being Chief Odumegwu Ojukwu, was even granted national pardon after the war. He came back and he contested for the presidency of this country. The Igbo elders who should be thinking of retaining the identity of that season in history are not also getting it right by trying to alter the nomenclature. The most important thing to me is that within that season, like my brother said, what was known and what is still known is Biafra. And the Biafra was not an identity for the Igbos who participated in that war, but for all. Whether there are divisions today as to whether to continue Biafra or not is another question entirely. So if there is a Biafra Heroes Day, the man who was second in command to Ojukwu was Akwa Ibom. And if you take away that, was he a hero or not in that war? If you want to erase the role played by non-Igbos, it will make the change of name a selfish motive. So the Igbo leaders should not try to deny and deprive brave and courageous people who participated in that war who were non-Igbos. And that will make the battle, the struggle, non-popular, because it will encourage secession in terms of withdrawal of interest. But be that as it may, I don't have a problem with that day. It shouldn't come as a fight. Biafra Heroes Day should be retained, by my opinion. It has nothing to do with whether those who are enemies of Biafra like it or not. It has everything to do with a phase of our history that we must learn how to accept.
Interestingly,
if you know too well, if you know what I do, you know that I am an Ogoni person, and I am from River State. My ancestors fought in that war. In fact, I experienced that war. And so I can tell you for sure that whether we like the war or not, there is no need for that war. There is no need to wake up the face of history that have been laid to bed, to sleep. If the progenitor of Biafra has seen the need to continue to sustain the Biafra war, the struggle, he never would have contested for the presidency of Nigeria. But they all admitted that, yes, there was the question of injustice, inequality, and that was what Biafra seek to correct. If the Biafrans, if the Igbos are still fighting that war. The Ogonis never fought that inequality war and injustice and fight for injustice against them. And the larger Niger Delta, so to speak. So let us forget about that idea and know that if Nigeria had been fair to all its citizens, all parts of this, all its federating unit, whether it's a proper federation or not, there wouldn't have been any need to think about Biafra.
Right. All right,
but the most important lesson to learn from all of this, in my opinion, is that we have refused to learn, like the South African issue. The South African conflict, if you study it, it will show you that it was purely a racial problem. And that issue of racism was identified. And that is why they post-apartheid as South Africa identified that as an issue. And they established the South African Institute for Race Relations.
The apartheid that we know, according to history, was also being carried out by the whites, who we know were the Boers, who were farmers at the Ibn coming into South Africa after the shipwreck happened at the Cape of Good Hope. But now let's bring it back to the studio where we have Mr. Akinfatinke standing in. Mr. Akinfatinke, from persons that have spoken before, we have Elder Lekia Christian, and also we were able to get some information from Blessed Jato also, because during the course of this particular topic, or this particular one we're talking about now. Biafran Day celebration was scheduled to be on the 30th of May. Some persons have said that that day shouldn't be. It's illegal for such to happen. What are we really having as a problem at this point in time? June 12th was being given to celebrate democracy because a particular individual who won election in 1993 was denied that particular right. And we learned that individuals lost their lives, amounting to millions, after or during that particular war, the Biafran war that we experience here in Nigeria according to history. Why can't we bring out a day to celebrate those who lost their lives during that prestigious war? Why is it difficult for Nigeria to do?
Talk, Finian. And I have heard these versions, and they will never be unending. And while I would not want to pick any issues with private, the two analysts have brought their own perspective. I think it should be their own perspective. And I think we can always go back to history. We cannot distort. When you begin to want to distort, what is in a name? Whatever it is that you want to call yourself in a name, within the enclave that is recognized by law, it's okay. I mean, if you want to call yourself a Negro, you want to call yourself whatever it is. Now, the truth of the matter is that after the Aburi breakdown in talks, Dean Ojumeku still felt that the agreement that was reached with then head of state, Gowon, should be binding. Because Gowon came back and said, hey, wait a minute, the way we are supposed to be a whole Nigeria, but I had gone to overreach myself. And Ojukwu then said, on Aburi we stand. Now, on Aburi we stand, and he declared a secession. There is a difference between that declaration of a secession and the whole of the country agreeing. And I don't expect that the whole of the country will naturally agree. No. Let me also draw a parallel.
When you say he declared a secession, okay, Mr. Fatinke, there was an agreement signed by the then head of state and Dim Chukwemeka or Ojukwu. And we have such agreements actually. It was a written form. It was not a verbal agreement. So when you say he declared a secession, we know what history said about
I shouldn't continue because, okay, no. So please let me.
Please land on your thought because we need to move on to the next topic of our conversation.
Oh, okay. I thought you gave. Okay, all right.
No, just go ahead in 1 minute.
So in 1 minute, you give me 1 minute.
Yes.
The truth of the matter is, Biafra, like they have said, and like you have also said, if that is what the ethnic coloration that we all know as Igbo says they want, let it go through a plebiscite. Let it be agreed. Okay. The same was going to happen in Oduduwa. The vast majority of Yoruba people says, look, Oduduwa Republic will be a misnomer. The same in Middle Belt, the same elsewhere. My point, therefore, is Nigeria, again, not wanting to distort the history. Nigerian civil war. Yes, Biafra declared by a secession. Again, I am not saying that secession should not have been declared or something.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, Nigeria celebrates January 15, that we call Heroes Day, where we have the bulk of our armed forces that have lost their lives.
Thank you very much, Mr.
So,
Fatu. I think the argument
that
of
is
the
going
other
to be
guest was
put
that
back.
2 countries fought the war, Nigeria and Biafra. A country that survived for 3 years, had international recognition, had all the official
currency and everything.
of everything. Okay, it's okay. It's an ongoing conversation. It's a going debate, you know. So let's move away from that. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPCL) has announced a scheduled maintenance shutdown of the Port Harcourt Refining Company (PHRC) set to begin on May 24, 2025. According to the company, the shutdown is part of a planned sustainability assessment to ensure optimal performance and long-term energy security. NNPC stated that it is working with relevant stakeholders, including the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, to ensure the process is transparent and efficient. This comes just months after the refinery resumed operations following a $1.5 billion rehabilitation. We still have with us here in the studio Mr. Fatuke. He's an energy expert. We also have Blessed Jato in Bini and Lekia Christian in Port Harcourt. Mr. Christian, let me start with you. We are talking about Port Harcourt Refinery here. Let us understand what's going on. We understand that the refinery has been shut down for 30 days maintenance after about $1.5 billion was sunk into that refinery. Okay, I understand also that you come from Ogoni and that's the route to your hometown. So when you pass the refinery at Element there, what do you see? Do you see tankers loading out of the gantry, out of the loading bay and all of that? Can we understand what's going on in the Port Harcourt refinery? Or what went on before it was shut down? Can you walk us through all of that as quickly as you can, sir?
Made mention of that issue some times ago.
Okay.
And I can clearly tell you now that it wasn't functional. You hardly see trailers coming out of their loading, you know, and that's why the tank farms have been working more effectively. It clearly shows a case of sabotage. So whatever propaganda that was employed to give the public an impression that Port Harcourt was working, to the best of my knowledge, wasn't real. I think there's need for them to do the proper shutdown now so that they can do the turnaround maintenance. So to me, the recent action is a welcome thing. Let's stop playing shadow politics with issues of public importance, of public interest. And
Mr. Christian, you said we should do a proper maintenance after $1.5 billion was sunk into that project.
You are not a stranger to this country, and I'm sure you understand how corruption had worked. Even the fight against corruption, you know, had not succeeded. These are part of the openings to show you the nature of Nigerians and how this corruption issue had been happening. I'm telling you that the oil and gas sector is a critical sector that you need to give attention if you must nip the issue of corruption in the bud. To the best of my knowledge, nothing was happening. And I don't think anything is happening now. So I feel that if nothing was happening and it was a mere propaganda by the impression I get, then there will be need for us to do a proper maintenance, turnaround maintenance. The issue of how that money was spent should be investigated. The law enforcement and anti-graft agencies are all there. These people were public servants, those where did the money go? Nigerians should be made because that money came from the public coffers. So why should we accept whatever they said? There should be a proof. There should be a thorough investigation, and the outcome should be made public. And if anybody was found culpable, that person should be made to answer.
All right.
You know, to whatever they did, whether as a group or as an individual.
Interestingly, I believe just last month or thereabouts, there was a total overhaul in NNPCL with the group GMD being asked to resign, or rather have a new one there. And we also learned that the GM of Port Harcourt, Warri refineries were also sacked. And we're yet to get information, you know, regarding what happened how they spend the Nigerian money on the refineries that we know happen to still be in Commerce State. Now, let's get your opinion on this one, Mr. Blessed Jato. What do you have to say about this? We spent $1.5 billion, you know, in making Nigeria refineries now come upstream, and we learned that it was less than 1 month after that of Warri was declared working again, it went bad. And we are getting another 30 days of a shot in Port Harcourt refinery for maintenance. If you can hear me, Mr.
All right, thank you very much. You see, Nigeria is the more you look, the less you see. And the oil sector is one sector that is run by mafias. And it is just very unfortunate that we run a country where certain persons, certain individuals are bigger than the country, and by implication, they are above the law. And it is very worrisome because even after this 30-day shutdown, with the kind of system we run in Nigeria, I will still not be surprised that in not a very long time from now, there will be another maintenance because they have always been maintenance. But you see, it is time we begin to bring people to check. It is time the wheel of accountability begins to grind in this country. A situation where certain people become bigger than a country and they can do anything they like. Somebody can just release money, another person spend the money, and nobody is accounting for anything. The same persons, all the many names they called now that are going to be part of the maintenance, that are going to monitor the maintenance, they were all part of the system before. They were all part of the money that was spent before and even before now. And nothing is happening. That is because the persons at the helms of affairs are really not calling people to account.
All right.
And why is it not calling people to account again? Because this system is run by mafias.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you,
Mr. Blessed Jato. We're already pressed for time. Even Aliko Dangote made Nigerians understand that the mafians in the oil sector are stronger than those in the drug cartel. Let's get your opinion on this, Mr. Akinfatunke, as someone who once played in the oil and gas sector.
I'll take it from your mouth, Phil. I'll just take it from your mouth. Dangote says the NNPC is run by mafia. That is one thing that all of us know. He knew.
Well, we've wasted $1.5 billion.
It's not just 1.5 billion. This is just at the tail end of it. We've wasted trillions upon trillions of our petrodollars. We know that. And Obasanjo was trying to do some recalibration before he left, and Yar'Adua overturned it. The Dangotes of this world and the $10 of this world will have tried to do something. But I always say you need to really understand those refineries are sitting on a bed of oil. Oil majors were brought in to come in. They looked at the situation of things. They have to do a lot of remediation. And then, you know, people bringing cutlasses and axe and oaths. Rather than we go in that way, the mafia, like Dangote said, turn it around. So back to where we are at now. Yes, I'm in agreement that, you know, it's been one step forward, 24 steps backwards, you know, painting things. I agree with my two analysts that as far as I'm concerned, Port Harcourt was finished. We should launch it. It's this and all that. And like the man from Ogoni said, I've also read it someplace, that what we have is just that the tankers are not going there. It's still a cesspit of corruption. But I have a ray of hope. A ray of hope in the sense that the present government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has decided finally to now do a forensic audit. You also mentioned the fact that the Port Harcourt refinery guy, he was found, well, you didn't say that, but you know, I mean,
we'll talk more on this,
they were all sacked, and then they found some money on him and all that kind of stuff.
We'll talk more on this particular one during the newspaper review. Of course, already pressed for time. We thank you so much, Mr. Akinfatunke, a communication consultant and arbitrator, for being part of today's VOP this morning. Also, Blessed Jato, who is Executive Director, Kadoshi Neteti for Justice and Environmental Development. Thank you so much for being part of today's show. Elder Lekia Christian, Thank you, President Niger Delta Coalition Against Violence, for being part of this morning on Voice of the People Television. On behalf of the backroom staff and my colleague, Chukuma Okoro, it will be have a wonderful day. But do well to join us because we're coming back again on top of the hour, 10 o'clock, for the newspaper review proper on Voice of the People Television. I am Fina. Okay, Chiku. Bye for now.